The best teams in Division I dominate year in and year out because they keep getting the top recruits that keep putting on their uniforms. The men of Texas Tech right now have 4 60-meter dash sprinters ranked in the top 10 of the entire NCAA. That means they could realistically fill out half of the NCAA championship final all by themselves. But that's nothing compared to the ladies of Arkansas. They have 6 women in the 400-meter dash, ranked inside the top 23 for all of the NCAA. And 4 of those women are also inside the top 8. And coincidentally, both of those universities won NCAA championships in 2019. So don't get it twisted. There might be almost 300 D1 programs out there, but it's really not a fair fight when all of the top recruits keep lining up wearing the same uniforms. So if a top recruit ever chooses to break the mold and run for a team that nobody really pays attention to, it isn't just rare, it's almost unheard of. But right now, Ethan Exilhomme is ranked 2nd in the entire nation in the 60-meter hurdles, with a man from Texas Tech ranked right ahead of him, and another man from Texas Tech ranked below him in 3rd. But Ethan doesn't run in the Big 12, or the SEC, or even the Big 10. He runs for Northeastern University in the Coastal Athletic Association, better known as the CAA. And yes, that is actually a thing in D1. And Northeastern is not to be confused with Northwestern University, which plays football in Division I FBS, but coincidentally, doesn't even have a men's track program at all. The truth is that Ethan Exilhomme was one of the best hurdling prospects in the class of 2021. But there is a real reason why Texas Tech, and nobody else for that matter, in the power conferences, was checking for him in recruiting. Because his journey to the top of the rankings is something that nobody would have seen coming at the end of his junior year of high school. But now he has a chance to not only win a national title while representing Northeastern, but also prove their coaches right for believing in him back when nobody else would. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section because I try to read them all. Ethan Exilhomme's story stands out because on the one hand, the big schools had to see him coming. But the problem is that they didn't notice him until Ethan decided it was way too late. At the high school level, Ethan would have rated as a high 2-star recruit on SCArecruiting.com at the end of his junior year. That's good enough to get into D1 at a lesser-known program like Northeastern. But his junior year of high school was in 2020, and we all know what happened back then. That is a big deal, because junior year is normally when most boys break out as recruits for the D1 level. It's what happened to me in high school, and without that season, I never would have gotten into D1. He likely looked at all of his options and determined that Northeastern was the best one. They're a solid D1 track program in his home state of Massachusetts. The only knock on it is that nobody really knows their conference. Of course, some recruits blow up during their senior year, but remember, November is when the signing period starts, and all the big meets for high school are in like April and May, and even June depending on your state. It's normally way too late on the calendar for a new coach to find you and recruit you and get you to commit. However, during Ethan's senior year, something crazy happened. He jumped all the way up from a 2-star recruit to a 5-star recruit by the end of it. He ran way faster with hurdles and without, and finished the season as the 2nd fastest 110 hurdler in the entire nation, at least when you control for the wind gauge. That would have been good enough to write his ticket to almost any program in D1 if he had done it just a year ago. But Ethan had already chosen the Northeastern Huskies. But more importantly, they chose him because they already knew he was good, even if they didn't know he was that good. And that must be the real reason why he not only showed up for them, but showed out when the transfer portal gave him a chance to leave later on. Now, excuse me for a moment, because I feel the need to point out that Northeastern track and field is actually legitimate, at least in the CAA. They win their conference most of the time, and went back-to-back indoors and outdoors in 2023. The only reason you haven't heard of them is because it's the CAA and not the ACC. even if the letters are similar. But the moment Ethan got to Northeastern, he proved his 5-star ranking was not a fluke. He went second in the conference indoors and outdoors in the short hurdles, and also went second overall at the IC4A championship meet. For the record, it's basically like the NIT in basketball, but for track and field. He made the NCAA East Regional meet, but didn't qualify out, so nobody really remembers that he was there. As a sophomore in 2023, he cranked it up a notch to become one of the fastest sprinters in the CAA, even without the hurdles. Indoors, he ranked third in the conference in the 200, was the fastest 60-meter dash runner, and of course, won the 60 hurdles in the CAA. But the first true warning shot that Ethan Exilhomme was ready for the big time was when he made the 110 hurdle final at the Texas Relays. So it should not be a surprise that he won the CAA in the 110 hurdles, went back to the regional meet, and took care of business when he was there. That is how Ethan Exilhomme made it to the NCAA championship meet. And that is the first time that I noticed him, because I saw him in the prelims, and I also saw Northeastern next to his name. But nobody else really paid attention, because of course he didn't make the final. That brings us to what just happened, because Ethan Exilhomme is now running like every bit of the 5-star recruit that he was. So when he dropped 7.60 seconds in the 60 hurdles, it was validation of what I already knew to be true. Ethan Exilhomme is not only legit, but a real threat to win the NCAA championship indoors. Just think about it for a moment. If I told you that the second fastest hurdler in his entire class would be ranked second overall in the NCAA 3 years later in that event, would it really be a shock anymore? The only reason nobody's really expecting Ethan to do it is because of the uniform he continues to wear. The big schools didn't want Ethan back when he was just a 2-star recruit, but Northeastern, who actually takes track seriously, did. They don't normally get 4- and 5-star recruits, but they also saw value in him from the start. He not only chose to go there, but to stay put with the team and the coaches who believed in him from the start. And I'm sure that somebody at least floated the idea of transferring his way out to the SEC, the Big Ten, or even to Texas Tech in the Big 12. I can't tell you what'll happen to Ethan Exilhomme going forward, but I can tell you what is supposed to happen. 5-star recruits are supposed to dominate at the college level. Ethan has already started doing that in the CAA, but that is not what I'm talking about. He is supposed to win on any track against any team in the NCAA. The leaderboards right now are proof of it. So ignore the name of the team if you must, but pay close attention to the man who's hurdling for them. Ethan Exilhomme is a real threat to win an NCAA championship this season. Some might even call him the favorite. The only reason he's an underdog to you now is because he competes for the Huskies. But they dominate their conference and have gotten used to doing it. And now, Ethan gives them a chance to give a dose of it to everybody else in the NCAA. SCA track and field gear is here. Fast is a lifestyle, and what you wear should reflect that. Order yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.